Hey my friends, how's it going? It's Ultimus, and today I wanted to take a look at Truthguard, the Prot Paladin Artifact Weapon. For me, Prot Paladins will always kind of have a little bit of a special place for me, simply because back in Cataclysm when I finally leveled up my Paladin, originally was actually a Blood Elf, but I leveled her up as Prot. I thought I wanted to try my hand a little bit at the raiding scene. Turns out it wasn't my forte at all, and so Prot ended up being kind of what I decided I wanted to try. I always liked the thought of Prot Paladins, and I feel like it fits the class very well, but I ended up having just mostly fun in a PvP. I leveled up with my Prot Paladin almost entirely doing BGs through Cataclysm, because that's when they started introducing experience through Battlegrounds. And I remember just running through with my Prot Paladin, just tossing Avenger's Shield out at people in those low-level brackets and almost one-shotting them, if not one-shotting them sometimes. It was quite satisfying. But all that aside, let's go ahead and take a look at Truthguard. Now, there is no equip effect labeled here yet for the Prot Paladin weapon, so that's yet to be seen. I'm sure it's out there, it just isn't here on the Wowhead page as of right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the starting talent, which is Truth in the Flesh. It says unleashes Truthguard, causing holy damage over 9 seconds to enemies who enter the area, reduces damage taken by 25%. So, in lieu of the fact that this is a tanking spec, not only is this going to do damage, but it's going to reduce the damage you take while you're standing in it. So think of it like an enhanced version of Consecration, essentially, is how this is going to boil down to. Which is kind of cool. So not only are you going to have Consecrate, but you're also going to have Truth in the Flesh now. Doesn't say there's any cooldown on it, which is quite interesting. So you just be able to drop this down wherever. I'm curious how many you're going to be able to have out at a time. Probably only one. But it's kind of cool that it doesn't have a cooldown. Scatter the Shadows. Increases the healing of light of the Protector by 10%. 30%. And then Consecration in Flame increases the duration of Consecration by 1 second, 2 seconds. Oh, that's kind of cool. So not only are you getting all that, but then you're getting the increased duration of Consecration. So I'm curious what kind of the damage is going to be like, because between Consecration itself and then Truth in the Flesh, if you can stack these on top of each other, that might be some gnarly AoE damage for sure. Prot Paladins have always been the kings of like big AoE pulls on holding massive mobs, and just massive amounts of mobs, I should say, worth of aggro. So it's kind of cool that they're further enhancing that effect, I feel. Righteous Crusader increases the damage and damage reduction of Shield of the Righteous by 3%. I would imagine that goes up to 10% or 12%, but it's stuck at 3, so we'll see what that looks like when it's done being bugged. Eye of Judgment increases the critical strike chance of Judgment by 3%, 6%, 10%. Makes sense. Hammertime. Oh, that's appropriate. Cheeky. I see what you did there, Blizzard. I see what you did there. Increases the damage of the Hammer of the Righteous by 3%, 6%, 10%. And then Factual Armor increases your armor when under 40% health. Oh. I'm curious how much that increases your armor by then, because that's intense. So if you're below 40% health, you're just going to get a massive buff to your armor. That's kind of cool. And Forbearant Faithful. The more instances of forbearance you have, the faster your abilities which cause forbearance cool down. What? So is this basically encouraging you to bubble? Like, because you can't have more than one stack of forbearance up at the same time, so you can't drop multiples of those. But is this keeping record then of like how many times you've been under that forbearance cooldown within a fight? I mean, is that a thing? Which is cool, because then you're able to cast that more freely on other people, but I don't really see how this is effective for you, since you're still under the forbearance cooldown. Because it only reduces the cooldown of the abilities, not the debuff itself. Interesting. Cool concept, though, but I'm curious to see what this is actually going to look like in-game. And how that's going to work out mathematically. Because I feel like how I'm reading it is like, that was the only way we'd have, that was like, It's the only way that's going to work, right? Yeah, the more instances you have of forbearance, so the more times you have forbearance up during a fight. So that's almost encouraging you to use your bubbles and your lay on hands and your blessing or hand of protection. Now I should say, sorry, there's old school talents. Very interesting. I mean, you can get to a point though where, depending on a fight, where you're throwing bops and lay on hands out there like nothing. I'd be curious how big the cooldown reduction is going to be too. That's a big factor as well. Heart of the Avenger increases the damage of Avenger's shield by 3, 6, 10%. Shield of Truth. Your divine shield is now castable on allies. Oh, wow. That's insane. It's because ever since, I mean, the birth of WoW, basically, divine shield has always been only cast on yourself. But that changes the game quite immensely. I mean, I don't think this will necessarily make prop paladins viable in PvP, but I could see them getting a little bit of playtime in RBGs. Might be even really good in 2s too, which is actually kind of scary. Not as if 2s needs to be any more imbalanced, but that's interesting. That's kind of an interesting concept then, because then that's going to stack, of course, on this one as well. Because again, you're going to just gives you more opportunities to. Well, no, that wouldn't make any sense. Never mind. That wouldn't stack on itself because it only counts the instances of forbearance that you have, not the ones on allies. Interesting. Either way, kind of a cool concept. I'm curious to see what that's going to look like in game, though. Just what kind of how that's going to change raids. Because I know, I mean, I'm saying raids because you're mostly going to see prop paladins in raids. You're not going to see a whole lot of prop paladins in PvP, which is fine, again, except for maybe 2s because it's easier to maybe keep yourself alive while you're having someone carry you, whatever. But, curious to see how that's going to change the game, definitely, because that's not a small deal. Like, that's a big factor right there. Insistent Defender reduces the cooldown of Ardent Defender by 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, okay. And then Resolve of Truth increases your health by 2%, 4%, 6%. Painful Truths. Your Ardent Defender grants you Painful Truths, which deal 200% of spell power damage per melee strike you are dealt. So it turns it into a counter, basically, right? Like, you're just gonna, the more damage you take, you're gonna dish more out. Interesting. So casting Ardent Defender is gonna give you this buff. Deals 200% of spell power damage per melee strike you are dealt. That could be pretty gnarly on those bosses that do those rapid succession melee strikes. Interesting. Alright, let's take a look at all of our big talents now here. Rebound effect. Avenger shields you for the amount of damage dealt. Oh. I'm sure that's a typo there because I'm sure it says Avenger shield shields you, but still. That's it. So again, more little like protections and absorbs there. Interesting. Flames of Judgment. Judgment unleashes a blast of flame, damaging your target for the total of all healing you've received. Wait, what? Like, surely that's got to be like taking into account just the fight, right? I mean, I feel like if there's any bug in this talent whatsoever, we're gonna see prop paladins like dishing out into the billions of damage. If there's one bug in this that's gonna like freak out, and there's just gonna be like, it's gonna take into account all the healing prop paladins have ever received, and so you're gonna see prop paladins running up and just one-shotting bosses. I'm calling it now. We're gonna see that happen in Legion, whether in the alpha, beta, or actually live. But we're gonna see it happen. I'm just saying. There's almost no way because there's bugs and everything, and that's the way that would bug out. That would be freaking hilarious. But either way, that just sounds strong. Like, especially towards the end of a fight. I mean, because especially if you're the main tank, you're gonna be getting most of the healing. Total of all healing is this self-healing or healing from all sources? The way it's worded makes me think it's healing from all sources, but it's kind of a vague tooltip, so I want to know what this is actually going to take into account. Like, what factors are we going to see from the healing? Because that just sounds insanely strong. It sounds cool, but that just sounds insanely strong. That just seems too open-ended. Like, just take all the damage. Like, if this doesn't get tuned properly or taken into a lot of things into account, Prop Paladins are going to be gods. Jeez. And then Empowering Light, Hammer of Righteousness, empowers your next light of the Protector, causing it to heal for an additional, we'll just say X over however much until canceled. Interesting. So it just sits there until canceled. Interesting. That's kind of cool, though. So good self-healing. And I feel like Prop Paladins have always had decent self-healing or Resorb, so it's kind of cool to see that not being neglected. They shouldn't have as good self-healing as Blood Death Knights, because that's kind of Blood Death Knight's niche, but it's kind of cool to see that it's still there, since Prop Paladins do still use the light, so it makes sense that they'd have the ability to heal themselves with some of their attacks and things like that. But Prop Paladins look very, very interesting. Again, I don't know if some of the things that we're going to be seeing here in their artifact weapon are going to be enough to make them viable in PvP. Maybe they would have a place in RBGs. I just don't see them taking over druids or prot warriors for flag carrier positions. But there are some interesting things going on here with Prop Paladins. It seems really well thought out. I'll give it that. The theme sounds really good. It doesn't seem like anything here doesn't belong, if that makes sense. Like when we talked about our Arms Warrior artifact weapon tree, being able to just use Victory Rush whenever we wanted in defensive stance just seemed odd. Like, it's not a bad talent, it just seems oddly placed to me. But nothing feels out of place here, which is kind of cool. I think the weapon itself looks dope. We're just seeing mostly the shield, which is pretty cool. I mean, just the initial, like, shield itself looks pretty sick. Like, if you get a good look at that one, let's see if we can turn it to where it's going to be, like, facing up. I think we might have broke it. Doesn't matter. We can't do that. Whatever. It looks cool. Like, just some of the different colors on it. It's extremely Diablo-esque, but it looks dope, which is pretty cool. So, I mean, this one right here just looks like it would match even well with the current tier for Paladins anyway. So, like, it's kind of cool, like, giving transmog options and stuff like that. But a lot of the colors, I like the glowing effects on it. So the shield itself and even the sword is very simple, but it looks slick. So to me, that seems pretty sweet. But yeah, definitely curious to see where Prop Paladins go. I always kind of keep my eye on them just because, again, I leveled a Prop Paladin. So it's always going to have a special place in my heart, even though I don't play it anymore. Again, I play my Paladin pretty much exclusively holy. But so there it is. So if you play a Prop Paladin, let me know what you think of the changes. I would be curious to hear what you guys have to say, especially from a PvE standpoint. What you think some of the changes will do for your class and its position in rating. And yeah, let me know. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Still shooting for 500 subs come summer, so if you would help me get there, that would be absolutely lovely. If you haven't done so already as well, feel free to follow me on all the different social media platforms that we are on. You can find my Instagram up on the banner of the channel, where I post pretty much daily. Lots of just personal stuff. Not so much gaming related, really. Just because usually when I'm out with my phone and Instagramming, I'm not doing gaming things. So lots of food, coffee stuff, random crap that I do, and then lots of my puppy. So there's that. And you can do that. You can follow me on Twitter, where I do more stuff related to the YouTube channel there, and mostly just like to use it as a means to keep in contact with people. So if you're into that, feel free to follow me there. Another great place for you to leave suggestions or requests for videos. And then you can also follow us on Facebook. We have a page set up there where I post videos daily, so you can see exactly what's going live and all that, so you can keep up to date with it all. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.